All right, guys, welcome back. Let's get straight into it. Right now, a lot of traders are having a hard time with the market and they don't really understand why. People think it's random, bad luck, or just a slow market, but it's not random. This is a macro driven environment, and if you're not reading that properly, you're going to keep getting trapped. Let's start with oil, USO, because this is the driver behind a lot of what we're seeing right now. On the weekly chart, we've just broken out of a major range and we're pushing into that 119 to 125 area. That's not just a small move, that's a structural shift. And when oil starts pushing like this, it puts pressure on inflation, yields, and overall liquidity in the market. Now, zooming into that lower time frame, the 30-minute chart, you can clearly see how price is respecting levels. We had that strong push into that 119 to 120 resistance zone, and now we're starting to consolidate just under highs. So the key question here is simple. Do we break that and hold this 120 to 125 range, or do we reject and pull back? Because whichever way this resolves is going to directly impact the broader market. Now let's move into SPX, and this is where things are starting to play out exactly how we talked about in the last video. I said 6630 and 6521 were key levels to watch, and once 6521 breaks, the next level down is 6360. And now look at the chart. We're breaking down, losing structure, and heading straight into that lower range. This is not random weakness, this is a clean technical breakdown. Lower highs, loss of support, and continuation to the downside. Now let's talk about IWM because this is where most traders are actually getting hurt. Same idea here. In the last video, I said once that 245.50 level breaks, we're likely heading toward 230. And again, look at what's happening. We lost that level cleanly and now we're moving lower into the next support zone. Small caps are not leading right now, they're lagging. And when IWM is weak, momentum trades become a lot harder to sustain. That's why you're seeing breakouts fail, follow through get weaker, and traders getting chopped up. But here's the important part. This is not just downside for the sake of downside. What this is actually doing is setting up a potential high-quality buying opportunity. If SPX starts stabilizing near that 6360 area, and IWM starts finding support around that 230 zone, that's where you want to start paying attention. Not blindly buying, but watching for confirmation that buyers are stepping back in. Because once that happens, we could see a strong move back across the board. Now let's talk about small caps. Because even though I've been saying I'm focusing on high probability setups, that doesn't mean every trade is going to work. You're still going to have losses here and there, that's a part of the game. The difference is how you manage them. If you look at what I've been doing in my channel, I'm not chasing random moves. I'm waiting for clean levels, clear breakouts, and managing risk properly. Taking partials into strength, cutting when needed, and staying selective. That's the edge. So going into next week, the main focus is simple. Watch oil, because that's driving pressure. Watch SPX and IWM because they're approaching key levels. And most importantly, don't force trades in a market that's not giving clean follow through. Because once this environment shifts, that's when the real opportunities show up. So going into next week, I'm going to be focused on trading high quality day trading setups and swings still ranging from 2 to 7 days. Now let's talk about a couple of setups I'm watching right now. Starting with TURB, on the 1 hour chart, this one has completely retraced back to the 210 and 220 zone. And this is not just a random level, this is prior demand. If you look left, this is where price originally based before making that move higher, and now we're coming right back into it. So this becomes a decision point. Either buyers step in here and defend this level, or we lose it and it'll likely continue lower. What I like about this setup is the context. If oil keeps pushing higher, which we just talked about, this is the type of name that can respond very quickly. You're also starting to see compression on the lower time frames, which usually leads to an expansion. So for me, as long as this 210 area holds, I'm watching for a bounce back toward that 330 first, and then potentially a move into that 4+ area if momentum really kicks in. But again, this only works if the broader environment supports it. If oil pulls back, this probably doesn't do much. Next is QCLS. Now this one is interesting because it actually has a fundamental angle behind it. This ties directly into that AI narrative, specifically AI inference, which is exactly what NVIDIA was pushing at the GTC event. So there's a real story here, not just price action. But technically, this is what matters. On the daily chart, we're coming right into a key support zone around 340 to 360. You can see price has been grinding lower, but it's starting to stabilize here. So again, this becomes a decision point. If the base holds, this is ideally where I want to start building a position, not chasing it after it's already moved. Now above us, you've got that clear downward trend line acting as resistance. And that lines up almost perfectly with that 460 level. So that becomes the first real test. If we break and hold above that trend line, that's where things start really opening up. And that's where I'm expecting to see a move back to that $5 to $6 range. So the way I'm looking at this is simple. If it holds support, I'm building a position, and as soon as it breaks that trend line, momentum is going to expand. So overall, I'm not just randomly picking names here. I'm looking for setups that align with the bigger picture, oil strength, AI narrative, key support levels, and then waiting for confirmation before being aggressive. Because in this market, forcing trades is exactly how you get chopped up. That's it for this one, guys. Stay patient. In my opinion, the real opportunities are setting up right now. We just have to be able to spot them. And let's see what we can find in pre-market tomorrow. I'll see you guys later.